What if I told you that one single tennis tournament could completely transform an entire country's sporting future? Because right now, that's exactly what's happening. And at the center of it all is Eala. And here's the real question you need to think about as we go through the story. Are we witnessing the rise of a tennis nation that nobody saw coming? Because something bigger than just wins and rankings is unfolding here. Let's rewind for a second. Just a few years ago, tennis in the Philippines wasn't exactly on the global radar. It wasn't a country producing headlines on the WTA tour. It wasn't known for massive tennis crowds or world-class events. And if you were a young player growing up there, your dream didn't have a clear pathway. There was no obvious ladder to climb. And that's exactly what makes this moment so powerful. Because now, everything is starting to change. And a huge part of that shift comes down to one emotional, powerful experience that Eala recently opened up about. She wasn't talking about winning a title. She wasn't talking about rankings. She was talking about something deeper. Playing at home. For the first time in what felt like forever, she got to compete in front of her own people, sleep in her own bed, and feel what it truly means to represent her country. Not from thousands of miles away, but right there in the heart of it. And if you ever followed tennis closely, you know how rare that is for players from developing tennis nations. Eala herself admitted that growing up, those opportunities simply didn't exist. There were no local WTA level events, no big stages, no realistic targets. So like many others before her, she had to leave. She had to go out into the world and chase something that her home country couldn't yet provide. But now she's come back to something completely different. Because the Philippines Women's Open, yes, even as a WTA 125 event, has already started to change the entire conversation. And here's where things get really interesting. Eala didn't just describe the tournament as nice or important. She called it emotional. And that word matters. Because emotion is what builds movements. It's what turns casual interest into obsession. It's what inspires the next generation to pick up a racket and believe that maybe, just maybe, they belong on that court too. And according to Eala, that's exactly what's happening. She pointed out something that most people overlook when they talk about tennis development. It's not just about facilities. It's not just about coaching. It's about exposure. It's about seeing the level up close. Because when young players and families can physically attend professional event, watch top athletes compete, and feel the energy of a real tournament, something clicks. A dream becomes real, not abstract, not distant, real. And that's the power of what's happening in Manila right now. But here's the part that a lot of fans aren't talking about yet. And it could be the biggest factor of all. What happens if this tournament keeps growing? Because Eala hinted at something massive. Right now, it's a 125 level event. But what if it doesn't stay that way? What if this becomes a 250? Or even bigger in the future? Suddenly, you're not just hosting a tournament. You're building a pipeline. You're giving local players a tangible goal. Not, someday I'll play abroad, but one day I'll play right here at home. And that changes everything. It changes how kids train. It changes how families invest in the sport. It changes how federations prioritize development. And most importantly, it changes belief. Because belief is the foundation of every tennis success story you've ever seen. Think about it. Every top player you admire started with a moment where they believe it was possible. And often, that belief comes from seeing someone else do it first. Which brings us back to Eala. Because whether she intended to or not, she has become that person. She has become the proof, the symbol, the example that Filipino players can point to and say, if she did it, why not me? And this is where her impact goes far beyond her ranking. Speaking of rankings, let's talk about where she stands right now. Eala is currently sitting just outside the elite bracket, hovering around the mid-40s in the WTA rankings. And while that might not sound headline-grabbing to casual fans, it actually puts her in a very dangerous position, because she's close. Really close. Close enough to break into the top 32. And if she does that before Roland Garros, something huge happens. She becomes seated at a Grand Slam for the first time in her career. Now, if you're wondering why that matters so much, here's the simple version. Being seeded means you avoid the top players in the early rounds. It gives you a clearer path, a real chance to go deep. And for a rising star like Eala, that could be the moment where everything explodes. But here's the twist. Her recent clay season hasn't been perfect. There have been struggles. There have been questions. And that's exactly why the next few tournaments, Madrid and Rome, are so critical. Because she doesn't need a miracle. She just needs a push, a few strong runs, a bit of momentum. And suddenly, she's not just a promising player anymore. She's a serious contender. But don't lose sight of the bigger picture here. Because while rankings and results matter, what's happening off the court might be even more important. Eala is helping to ignite something in the Philippines that goes beyond tennis. It's cultural, it's emotional, it's collective. Filipino fans are known for their passion in sports. We've seen it in boxing, we've seen it in basketball, and now we're starting to see it in tennis. Crowds showing up, energy building, support growing louder with every match. And when that kind of momentum starts, it doesn't just fade away, it builds. It compounds. It spreads. And here's where I want to hear from you. Do you think the Philippines can become a true tennis powerhouse in the next decade? Or is this just a moment that might fade if results don't follow? Because honestly, this could go either way. History has shown us that breakthroughs need consistency. They need structure. They need continued investment. But they also need stars. And right now, Alex Eala is that star. But she might not be the last. That's the real story here. Because if this WTA event continues, if the exposure keeps growing, if more kids pick up rackets because of what they're seeing right now, then we're not just talking about one player. We're talking about a generation, a wave, a movement that could reshape tennis in Southeast Asia. And that's not hype. That's how sports evolution actually works. One spark, one moment, one player who changes a narrative. So when Eala talks about this tournament as a stepping stone, don't underestimate what she means. She's not just talking about her own experience. She's talking about the future. A future where Filipino players don't have to leave home just to dream. A future where the dream comes to them. And maybe, just maybe, that future starts right now. Because the next time you see a packed crowd in Manila cheering for a young player stepping onto a big stage, remember this moment. Because this might be the beginning of something much bigger than we realize. And if Eala continues her rise, if she breaks into that top tier, if she makes a deep run at a Grand Slam, then everything accelerates. The belief grows stronger. The spotlight gets brighter. And the next generation arrives faster than anyone expects. That's how revolutions begin in sports. Quietly at first, then all at once. And right now, tennis in the Philippines is somewhere right in the middle of that transformation. So keep your eyes on Alex Eala. Keep your eyes on Manila, because this story is far from over. And the next chapter? It might shock the entire tennis world.